Feeling trapped by all the stuff? Can't keep up? No time to think or plan? Has the rush and gush of modern life got you trapped?
Slow is the new fast. Slow is the new fast.
Slow is the new fast.
Set your coordinates. It's Mach 0, making time for life, one thing at a time. With your host, the VIP coach, John Davidson.
Thank you. This is JD. You're listening to the VIP Coach. This is the Mach 0 podcast, making time for life, one thing at a time. You're here because you're an entrepreneur. You're ready to grow. You want to create what matters to you in your life. You want to integrate all the different components that are in your life. You want to maximize learning. You want lifetime growth. And you want to build and unify your team. You want to focus your gifts towards your aims. You just are ready for that next level outlook. And that's why you've been following this show. That's why you tune in to the Mach 0 podcast. Of course, it was the No Hype Allowed podcast in 2007. We did 55 shows, and then we started with the Radical Creativity podcast. We did 25 Radical Creativity shows. And now this has given birth to the Mach 0 podcast, where slow is the new fast. Slow is the new fast. And on this show, I'm going to talk about why. The topic of today's show is called the prosperity zone, the prosperity zone. And so I'd like to give you a little bit of the backstory, because this is a new unifying concept that I've come up with. And over this Christmas break, I've done some great downtime, reflection, some blue sky time on coming up with this new concept. I took a really hard look at what we actually do for our coaching clients, right? I looked over 15 years of archive calls, what our deliverables are, our capabilities, what clients depend on us for in our helping process. And it really came down to four things. These are four archetypal pathways that all of our clients through the VIP coach, as a helper, as a wingman, as a climbing buddy, we incline our clients, we help our clients truly take delivery of getting better, of being masterful in four key things. And these four key things, if they are mastered, compose what I call the prosperity zone. What I learned is that in business, we all want a heavy level of involvement. We want to be involved in what we're doing. We're not looking for a shorter work week. We don't want to work less. We want to enjoy more of what we're doing. We want to be involved. We hunger to be involved in creating things that have meaning and heart for us in our business. We could work 30, 40 hours a week as long as we're involved. We could work 50 hours a week as long as we're involved and our business does something to us. It brings us heart and meaning, and it has purpose in it. We want to spend our lives doing things that matter, things that are significant. We don't want to be wasting time. That's the brevity of life. We've come to terms with the fact that we're not immortal anymore. So we're coming to terms with our own immortality. We're going to die someday. That's a real wake-up call for a lot of us. I mean, I assumed for many years this thing would go on and on and on and on until I realized my mind probably has a set point. It has a terminal point when I think I'm going to die. Ask yourself that. What age do you think you're going to die at? So you may say 93. Well, what does life look like at 93? Who are you going to be with? What are you going to be doing? Where are you going to be spending your time? I know if you're fantasizing, you're going to want to be fit. You're going to want to be around loved ones. You're going to want to be proud of the life that you led. You're going to want to pull out your report card and said, I did it. I played all the music in me. I didn't hold anything back. I lived the lived life. I didn't live the unlived life. So I gave love and I received love. I learned how to let go. And I enjoyed what I did. I was involved in what I did. And I gave to others. And I grew in that giving process. These are some of the things I hear from people when they talk to me about what their 95 or 93-year-old self would be accounting for. They didn't say, oh, I worked so hard, or man, I wish I had another day at the office. No, what was on their report card were things that were sacred to them. Intrinsic desires that truly matter, telling friends and loved ones that they love them, not waiting until their funerals, getting to things that really, truly matter. I can't think of a finer quality of expression that could come through you than putting what matters to you as the primary organizing principle of your life. Individually and collectively, Because I know you listen to this program not only for you, but you listen to this program for the people who also work with you, people who work for you, the teammates that you have. Nothing gets created without a group of people. It's true. You're not going to get it done by yourself. You're going to be dependent on other individuals. So, I believe that business and spirituality can coexist, and it's called the Prosperity Company. The company that prospers is a company that's able to combine and incorporate both. In fact, they must. Because in order for the business to outlast the owner, in order for a business to become meaningful, to become owned by someone else, to get into the hearts and the minds of the constituents that organize, produce, that fulfill the promise that that business makes to the marketplace, to the community, one must find the guiding ideas, the nobility of the business inside them. They're able to individuate within the collective order of the business. So the business in some way completes their life. This is the spirituality of the business. So you, as a leader, you make invitations, but the individuals, they consent to being there. You can invite them to meetings. You can invite them to participate in meeting goals. You can invite them into new challenges. You open the door, but they have to walk through. They're accountable by virtue of their choice, of their enrollment, of their commitment. They have an option. They have a choice, and that's consent. You can't hold anybody accountable. You can hold a grocery bag. You can hold a baby. But you can't hold anyone accountable. There is no holding of accountability. It's about choice. Do I want to or do I not want to? Now, you got to create a great game worth playing. So you got to create an aim that's worth playing, a game that's worth the aim. You set the climate. You set the thermostat. You help them understand why you play the game. And why might the game be important to play? What could be possible if we play this game? Why this game is better than other games? This is the path of one of these fourfold pathways, and I call it the multiplier. Our clients are looking to become multipliers. They multiply by enjoying creative value. They create value for their backstage teams. They lead in the backstage just as they lead in the front stage, out in the marketing that they do. They get with their clients. They get with prospects. They get with spheres of influence, other associates, people that are associated, but they don't directly buy, but maybe they do connect to opportunities. Again, the multiplier is the one who creates raving fans. The multiplier is the one that helps build that kind of credibility, to differentiate and to be able to become more of ourselves, become more artistic in what we do. In other words, the brand is about why we do it. So the multiplier is about, one, becoming a gifted boss, and two, the value creator. You create value for other people, you go out and you create value for others, and then you expect opportunity. There are no entitlements in leading a business. I'm sure you figured that out. There are no entitlements. You can't just expect something to happen without giving value first. And I'm not talking about just BS value. Sincere, desired, generous value. So that means you're not just listening to what is being said if you're in a sales call or if you're listening to your customers' wants and needs, especially your A customer. You're listening to the person behind it. This is very important. You're empathic in your listening, all part of creating value. You have transformative conversations. That's what your business is. It's a network of transformative conversations that transform you into a value creation leader. You listen by leaning in until the information changes you. You listen by leaning in until the information changes you. That is what listening is. It's a generous type of listening. When you signed up for being an entrepreneur, this lifestyle choice came with the game. This is what you got to do. This is how you play it. If you want to kick butt at the game, you got to learn to listen. Not talk all the time, right? You've got two ears and one mouth. So how do you listen your way to what you want to create? You have a lot of disruptive change. You're doing business in the world of flux. More than ever, it's important for you to be in the present moment. Why? Well, because when you're in the present moment, it's the only moment that you have to make decisions on behalf of what you want to create. So by having an intention, knowing what matters, having some aspirations as to what you want to give, what you want to contribute, how you want the community to see you. Community means marketplace. Think about it. Marketing is the total sum of all behavior. Everything you do, everything you say is adding to the marketing pool. The marketing piece, your brand promise, the outside perception, hopefully equals the inside reality. That means that the way the marketplace sees you, behaves around you, is shaped by your influence, is because of the inside reality of what you are. It's the why. Why do you do what you do? What's the point? Everything you do, it should be fulfilled by. The backdrop of everything is what's the point? Asking the team, what's the point? What is the point of this? What's the point of that? What's the point of producing this? What's the point of putting this to the marketplace? Is it consistent with who we are? So it's not about becoming somebody different to be competitive. We don't pay attention to our competitors as a value creator. You pay attention to your A clients. Those are the ones that are going to be the future. So pay attention, listen to what they're telling you because they're making you an innovator. They have emerging needs. They don't even know what they're missing. You create solutions for them that they don't know they need yet. How do you do it? You do it through experimenting. You do it through prototyping. You have hunches. And so you prototype ideas. You put it out there. You pull it out if it doesn't work. You keep it if it does. You learn by action. You act in an instant. But as a gifted boss, you create hope. You are a hope dealer. You're there to set the direction. You're there to build a culture that is capable, that is systemically inclined to move toward that direction. Right? Where are your focusing conversations in the boardroom? Listen, step back, pull back, listen to the theme, listen to the tone of the conversation. Are you talking about problems or are you talking about outcomes? Are we creating or are we reacting? Are we eliminating unwanted things or are we creating things that we love enough to see exist? What is the primary driver? What is the energy, the primary thrust from which the team is learning, creating, the team is developing and growing? What have you got your eyeballs on? How much development is in the meetings? Are you just looking at numbers, talking about roles? Are we looking at the dry stuff? That's all management. That's all good. Those are basics. Those are fundamentals. We have to do that. We got to do it by the book. We got to be an organization. Otherwise, we're not an organization. Don't call yourself one if you're not organized. Right? You got to organize the roles, the processes. People need to know what to do. They need to know what to accomplish. Anchor it into your mission and vision. Help them know the fundamentals that the mission depends on to come into reality. All good, all stuff we learned in school. But it's not what street fighters do. Street fighters go beyond. Gifted bosses are street fighters. They're just street fighters with finesse and grace. They're street fighters that have gone beyond just the street fighting. What they've done is they've learned why people should be led by them. And it's not because they're a reproduction of what a leader should be. It's because they know themselves, they have self-knowledge, and they become approachable. They're very selective about their weaknesses. You're an incomplete leader. The first step in being a gifted boss is accepting yourself as a human being. You're a bozo on the bus just like all of us. You're no better, you're not on a pedestal, and you're not to be the hero. Your job is to confront people's freedom. You're there for them to think. You're not the guy down the hallway figuring it all out. You're there to move power. You're there to shift power over to the individual. You're there to shift power out to the front line. You're there to get them thinking on behalf of the organization. You're building a culture of consent, of responsibility, creativity, and organization. Yes, you need to do the numbers. Yes, there needs to be a clearly communicated strategy. Yes, you need to be benchmarking. Yes, you need to be tracking. Yes, you need to create data you can live by. But there's so much more. It's about emotion. It's not just about logic. It's about will. It's about emotion. Why is it that people stick around? Even when things get bad, why do employees stay? It's because of their relationships. They owe something to their colleagues. They're all in this together. There is a reason we should unify. A team is a group of people that rely on one another to get something done than they can do, more than they can do themselves. But some teams are less intelligent together than they are apart. Why? Because they don't know how to create. They don't know how to talk to one another. They're so fixed on their opinions, they're so fixed on their beliefs and their judgments that they can't even listen. They can't let someone else have any variety. But as a gifted boss, you're cultivating a climate that helps other people take advantage of variety, of diversity. And it becomes an inculcatable value, that this is part of our family value, that we embrace diversity. You have stories around this. Yes, you tell emotional, compelling stories of how diversity, you've been able to capitalize on it as an asset. Diversity involves tolerance. It involves understanding. It involves a shared understanding, dialogue. It involves skillful discussion, learning how to speak together. It involves a sincere interest in learning what other people's aspirations are and their points of view. We have to confront our dependence. As gifted bosses, we realize that our dependence, none of us are independent, that we are fatally interdependent. When I say fatally, I mean it's just not possible to have anything else. We have to come to terms with our interdependence. The way I come into being is through my interactions that I have. The way you come into being is through your interactions. All properties are defined by patterns of interaction. Relationship is the organizing force of the universe. We need to become systems intelligent. We need to become systems intelligent. That the cause and effect are reversed. A lot of times the quick fix solution is actually the cause to the problem. We neglect to see that our solutions are putting water on the squeaky wheel. So something squeaks the loudest, we run to it, we put water on it, and inadvertently it rusts. It deteriorates over time. We have all sorts of fixes that backfire. All sorts of fixes that backfire. So there are non-obvious areas that we don't tend to see because of our habitual judgments. And so as a gifted boss, we cultivate a discipline for systems-oriented thinking, which means to see things in circulatory ways. That one system is influencing the other, much like the human body. That as one system is moved, one system changes, all the others are in response to it. That feeding happens on both sides. That the solution feeds the problem and the problem feeds the solution. We have balancing feedback and we have reinforcing feedback. So we learn to become gifted bosses that we're hope dealers. We create environments for people to succeed. We create environments for mastery, for personal mastery, and also team learning. We create environments for individuals to be driven not just by compensation or carrots and sticks, but to make real choices about what they want to do and the kind of organization that they want to become. We respond to the changes that they need made, not as heroes, but as coaches who know their capacity and their limitations. We're not persecutors to the team, out to get them based on ego. What we are is we're challengers who believe they can grow and see the greatness in other people, even ahead of themselves. And that doesn't mean that we cover our eyes up of the bad things. There are people that have evil plans. There are poison pills. As they've said in management consulting, eagles become turkeys. We need to get rid of them. We need to weed the garden quickly. We need to get rid of those also-rans fast. We need to hire slow and fire fast. Part of creating a unique team, part of creating a unified team is having a total, ultimate, unique, and client experience. So everyone becomes a contributing artisan to that process. It's like a show. We have a uniquely choreographed process that has a common choral voice of how all of us are contributing to the fulfillment and the wow factor that's brought about by that show. The experience is emotional. It brings out the sensory input to the client. It makes them feel terrific. It helps them reach their dreams. They can't get it from anybody else, and it's critical to their future success. This is the world of the multiplier, the gifted boss and the value creator. But wait, before we do that, we have to talk about, before we fulfill this one, we interdependently are depending on other qualities. So let me tell you about quality number 2. Quality number 2 is what we call the self. The self. And the self, see, the multiplier is about the people. But the self is about personal performance. The self is about your personal state of mind, your personal focus, your personal thinking. It's about the self. Now, business owners seem to be the biggest martyrs on the planet. I say that very, very strongly. I say that with a lot of conviction. They're the ones that get paid last. They're the ones to go to bed last. They're the ones to leave the office last. They're the ones that get there first. They take the biggest burden. And part of that redistribution of power is what that path of the multiplier really is. It's offloading. You can't go from here to there by doing the same things you've always done. You've got to focus your attention on doing the significant few things, not the trivial manys. So who takes care of the business owner? Well, they're not doing a good job at that themselves. They marginalize their health. They don't take good care of their families. They skip out on all kinds of cool experiences in their free time because they become obsessed and consumed. They're prisoner of their own machine. And this self, they feel terribly isolated, that no one really understands them, and it's very difficult. It's difficult to open honest and safe and transparent conversations when there's hierarchies, because there's all sorts of agendas around that hierarchy when we have subordinates and heroes. Second, the business owner feels consistently consumed in a reactive pattern of order, caught in all the innovation-killing time traps of constantly trying to pick up the pieces, constantly behind, can't get to anything that matters, and just the thrill of so much business happening all at one time, they can't even think or plan. So they feel very, very confused. A lot of them describe, to me, a very blurry existence, that they're skimming from one thing to the next, not getting into any canyons in depth, into anything. There's no real depth. They're just skimming at the speed of light between one thing to the next with no time to think. I've even had people after coaching calls say, JD, it's been the first time I've really thought deeply and reflected in the last 6 months. 6 months? 6 months it's taken to really think about where one is, where one wants to go, and how they're going to get there. So really, coaching is not so much about the solutions we bring, it's about the conversations that bring clarity for the person to act on the solutions they want to do. It's fundamental to everything they do in this aspect. So who takes care of them? They have to start. They have to start being a little bit more selfish, putting themselves first, so that they deliver the kind of energy, they take good care of themselves. And that means physical, and that means emotional, that means mental, and that means spiritual. And so to kind of fuse all that together, it starts with their own creative process, with their own personal vision, their own personal aspirations, where they truly want to invest their life spirit. So this gets into the quality of self as a key weapon, not the little self, not the small self, the one from the past, the one that's embodied in what we know of us, what we think the world is, not the one that holds all of our concepts and beliefs. No, it's not our it's not our conceptual bank account. It's not all the knowledge that we have. It's the not yet embodied self. It's the one that's from the future, the big self, the capital S self, the intention, the one that we know deep down when we bring our inner knowing to the surface, the one we know that we were bound to be, our essential self, our authentic self, our dormant self. The self from the future that is seeking us to come into reality. You might call it a calling. You're not creating a company, you're creating a calling. This is that communion between your current self and that future self. Leadership is to set forth. It means to set forth into that uncertainty, to take a meaningful leap into the mystery, into what is uncertain, by organizing decisions from the heart, by moving from what truly matters. It's creating separate from what we know, and we meet and connect with that future self. And that future self is where our highest future possibilities lie. It's the fullness of our potential that's waiting for us to come into being. Yes, it is. It is that self, and it involves listening. It involves letting go of something that we know, not having all the answers, knowing there are no experts. We're all making it up as we go along. Recognizing our limitations, having some self-knowledge, being able to understand our own limitations, having a sense of what really, really, really matters to us, not what should matter, not what's supposed to matter. It's about getting out of our own way, taking our identity out of the whole thing, and using failures as assets, having a more direct relationship with life, being able to gather and being able to integrate our experiences with life, with our creative process. It's about personal mastery. Personal mastery is the process of bringing something into being that we care about that did not exist before. That's the creative process. And in that creative process, it's not about being creative. It's about creating. It's a discipline of creating. It's mastering our own self. It's self-reliance. It is where priority management meets self-management. Yes, It's not about trickery. It's not about hypnosis. It's not about overcoming obstacles. It's not about willpower. It's not about human potential. You realize that the self lies outside you. When Picasso said, the power is in the painting, he got what I was talking about. That's right. It's displacing power. It's self-decentralization. The creator is not focused on himself. He's focused on the creations that she wants to bring into being. The self, that future self, is the character of that creation. It is as if that creation became part of us because it matters to us. But the source is generative love. And out of that generative love, it brings us into the love that we are, because we create out of what we're made of. We create out of the love that made us. It's really quite beautiful. It's coming into our deeper self, coming into our heart, our spirit heart, that divinely oriented desire of the King. The quality of our actions really ascends from there. It is the vertical connection, the intentional connection to our authentic self, to occupy that space, to be able to work with our creative fire, to connect with that future self. So we bring that into the multiplier, because what has heart and meaning for us, what we really want to create, has very much to do with how we multiply ourselves and the kind of people that we touch. And so we bring that into integration. We interdependently see the connection between the people and the multiplier that we are, the gifted boss and the serial creator that we are as a self, comes into play. But for these two to truly come out magically, I'm going to talk about two more. We're going to talk about growth and whole life integration, life, because these two are also essential to this fourfold passage. I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back.
It's Monday morning. I'm drained.
You've got mail.
Look at this. It's the Monday Advantage video. Yeah! Now I can get past the distractions and implement something new.
The Monday Advantage. It's that easy. Just subscribe free for a limited time at highlevelperformance.com. Every Monday, launch the week with fresh tools, giving you the right state of mind, focus, and confidence. See what becoming a gifted boss and serial creator is all about. Subscribe today at highlevelperformance.com. That's highlevelperformance.com. And start enjoying your Monday Advantage today. Grow your business and grow as a human being with these captivating books authored by the VIP coach himself, John Davidson. The Day I Built My Barbecue is about creative freedom. Learn how you can not only live well, but also grow a thriving business at the same time. John shows you his step-by-step technique with the principles, strategies, and steps to move from a business operator to a business owner. The day you build your barbecue is the day we all wish for. Totally free of distractions, totally available to living well, fully present. Then don't miss Unstoppable You. It's about creative value. When we do what we love and love what we do, we discover ways to make our business more fun and monetize our passions. Through stories, tools, and steps, this book will help you bring something to the world that no one else can, and bridge your most unique talents to the deepest aspirations you have of the future, and stand in the presence of all you are. It's about creative purpose. What does it mean to live on purpose? How do we work with the mystery that life presents us at every moment? In this book, John shows us through the silent spaces in life how to connect with our innermost sacred projects and passages. You'll learn how to bring the work, language, and presence of the soul into everything you do. Visit highlevelperformance.com to pick up any of these books in paperback or Kindle editions today. That's highlevelperformance.com. Having a life where you have the creative freedom to do what you love and to offer the world something that only you can bring to the table. That is the world of high-level performance with John Davidson. That is the world of radical creativity. That is the world that you can be a part of when you realize all that is holding you back is you. Begin the journey through one-on-one coaching that gives you the finesse for business and lifetime achievement, and find your place on the roadmap to high-level performance today. Visit highlevelperformance.com. From go time to slow time. Slow is the new fast. Mach 0, making time for life, one thing at a time. With VIP coach John Davidson.
Welcome back from the break. I hope you liked the commercials. And I probably played the commercial about the books. I hope that you go online and look at our books. I have 5 books out at this point. We have The Day I Built My Barbecue, which is more centered around the self piece. It's a creative freedom book. It's all about how to build a business that serves your life rather than consume it. But the whole thrust of the book, the centerpiece of the book, is about creating things that really matter to you in the setting of a business. And then the second book, of course, is The Unstoppable You, which is all about creative value. It's about the multiplier. It's the story of the multiplier and how we rise up and become the multiplier, how we turn our pain into gifts, how we turn our life stories into powerful, unique abilities and personal gifts in the service of others, and how we bring meaning to that. And then we put that behind our business as a catalyst. And then the third book, this a book called Stand in the Presence of All You Are, is the book about whole life integration. It's about creative purpose. It's the creative purpose piece, which is the relationship with the whole. And it's about a very deep listening. And it's about personal cultivation. And so how you tap into that, how you build an intentional stillness in your life out of which all your creations come. It's how you make space for things to move. And so I introduce a compelling model in there. And it's between the sensor, the seeker, and the limiter, and what I call the metagame. And the metagame is the game of organizing one's life around what really matters to you. There are many games people play, but this one is about coming from where you are into the metagame, which is to primarily organize all of your decisions, actions, and communications and interactions around what really does matter to you, so that you're very involved and you enjoy life. You have intent, you have involvement, and you have enjoyment, what I call intent, which I think is the real apex for all entrepreneurs in their journey. Truly what they want. They want tremendous enjoyment, great internal rewards and external rewards, but they also want the internal rewards of involvement. And then the fourth book is a short book. It's a small book called Choice Points. And I wrote this book called Choice Points because people would often ask me, how do I really know what to do? How do I navigate decisions? And so this is about navigating decisions on all organs of perception that you have, from your mental to your emotional to your spiritual intelligence, how to play a choice point, how to move forward, and how to choose out of the choices that you make, out of the emerging future that is happening, or choosing out of kind of the storage box of all of your knowledge and so forth that often limits people and is the actual cause of the problems or the restraints that they're in. And then the fifth book, which I'm just finishing polishing now, called The Catalyst. We have a rough version on Amazon and on Lulu.com. All these books are self-published. I did The Catalyst, and this was a poetry book, kind of a creative writing and essay book, organized around my love for my 3 children. And I thought, well, if I had them meet me when they were 27 or 30 or 40, and they're able to understand life more, they probably want to know what I was talking about. And so I share with them all the insights and wisdom that I've gathered over about 19,000 coaching sessions, working with over, at this point, about 550 of the, I believe to be some of the best leaders around the planet that truly are helping people grow and building fantastic, sustainable prosperity enterprises. So these are the 5 books. I'm very proud of them. So let's get into the second half of the show here, folks. We're talking about this new model called the Prosperity Zone, where spirituality times commerce equals a better world. And it's important in Mach 0 because Mach 0 is where slow is the new fast. And the reason why is that Mach 0 is truly about the power of reflection, that we're all too busy being busy to do what makes us a lot less busy, that speed has caused us to forgive. We've gone past the value of slow reflection, of taking stock of what really matters, of organizing our decisions in a higher degree of awareness around what really matters to us, around what we currently have, and what we need to do next. So this third element I'm going to talk about is called life. And when I say that, what I mean by life is I mean the person. We've talked about the multiplier, the serial creator, but this is really more of the economist. Eco is a key word, which means house. The economy means house of order. The economist, to economize our life. And what I figured out is self and life are different. You know, they are interdependent. One is internal, the other is external. But as we are organizing ourself and fixating on our intention, we have to bring a quality of attention to what we're doing. So attention becomes just as important as intention. And this is why I call it life, is we bring our attention, our reverence to life. And in the life story that we have unfolding, we have a lot of different characters in our plot. We have initiators. We have people around us that are shaping us. We have people we're shaping. We come into being through our interactions, through our close loved ones. And so we're married to life. We have a marriage with life. We have a marriage to our spouse. We have a marriage to the life work that we do. And so there's a combination of many things, from fun and leisure to our families, to our fitness, to our finances. We just have a multiverse of different qualities that kind of make up the geography, the topography of our life plan, of our life-building process. And so we've got to look at that, and it's more external because each one of those is a body of work. I mean, working on your body is a body of work. Working on your financial dimension is a body of work. Working on the fun and leisure part of your life is a body of work. Working on your intellectual skill building is a body of work. Working on your faith is a body of work. Working on, you get the idea. You're working on things. Your creations are creations. You're the creator. You're working on something. You're bringing a relaxed attentiveness, a presence to those things as your intentions are playing through. So you have attention, intention, and you integrate these experiences. You see, as you are multiplying, as you are moving into the serial creator, right, as you have creative freedom and this creative value, this creative purpose, the life space, is all about how you live forward into the mystery, because you have, as you're interacting with life, and life is in the business of creating life, you have this interaction with the whole, right? You have the self, so you cut the divide between the current self and the future self, and then you have what's between you and other, so we have the heart, the open heart, the heart to listen, the heart of compassion, understanding, the heart to do something with the learning we're gaining from the human beings that we give ourselves to, soul service. And so our come from is there, our creative value in the service of others. But this creative purpose is this kind of process of letting go and letting come. It's this kind of middle in between. It's kind of the middle between the past and the future. It's the present moment. It's the now. And so you make these horizontal connections with others, the relationships in your life. You make these vertical connections with qualities in your life that you intend, you bring into being. That's you as the artist. You are the artist, the serial creator. So we have the multiplier with others, the artist. But here you're being the integrator. The economist is the one who rids the waste, rids the non-essentials. And in the creative process, as you know, creating something is very eliminative. The energy isn't eliminating an unwanted thing. That's not the motif. But as you're creating, there's a lot of trial and error. There's a successive series of failures. You fail forward fast. And if you take your identity out of it, you can integrate your experiences at a radical level. So you might call it separation, or maybe pulling back, or some people call it looking at things objectively. But you interact with life on really neat terms when you realize that you are creator and that is your creation. And you can see things objectively. You can make better strategic decisions. You don't take everything so personal. You look at it from a third-person orientation rather than a first person. It's not me, I. It's more about he, it, them, and you. And so you're paying attention from a different place. A different quality of attention, a different quality of action is coming forth to your life subject matter. And so life, this integrative quality, is interdependent with everything. You integrate it with the self, because as life plays out, you learn from life more about what you're saying really matters. You learn whether things mattered as much as they used to, and you need to change your mind, and you probably will. And so you're working on all these aspects, including your business. And then we have this fourth area, what I call growth. Growth is like the oxygen of all these others. You know, if you think about it, we start off working time for money. As we start in our career, we spend a lot of time and we make money in that time. But as we progress, as we become more masters of wealth, we begin seeing how time is not money, because you don't get paid for time anymore. You get paid for a different economic means called opportunity, results, for creating value for other people. So you either get a result or you don't, but you personally grow to increase your capacity to do that. So you're going to go into 50 climactic moments this year. You're going to have transformative conversations. You're either going to win that or you're not going to win that, and you're going to do that by creating value for someone. You're going to eliminate their dangers, you're going to expand their opportunities, and you're probably going to capture their strengths, all at the backdrop of their 3-year future. You're going to be in a position of value. So you've got to ask the right questions. Your questions are evoking those data points, again, that bring you into the value creator, the multiplier that you are. So in the growth is about being the diligent engineer. The engineer is the one that creates an organized consistency, because in a business, in order for you to remain quality-oriented, in order for you to remain a reliable, referable, a company that builds trust, you have to be able to repeat. There's reproduction. You have to be able to reproduce your intellectual capital. Yes, you do create rich client experiences that do streamline and differentiate you. A business is about a series of cool experiences that dazzle the audience. More than ever, you do business as art. Right? So it's not so much about utility, it's more about what's really significant for you. And this comes into play. So as you're building your business, you see your business as a cash flow machine. It is the oxygen for all these other things. Because as you buy time with your money, you realize that the more money you make, the more time, the more discretion you have. Think about it. The more money you save, the more money you earn, the more money you save, the more discretion you have, the more people you can hire, the more you can delegate, the more you can free yourself up to have free time. So what are you going to do with that? You're going to self-actualize. What are you going to do with that? You're going to integrate your experiences in your life. What are you going to do with that? You're going to think more about the relationships that matter to you. You're going to think more about developing your staff. You're going to think more about developing your customers. You're going to be more relational rather than transactional. You're going to be more human than a machine. Because you don't get paid for being a machine. You get paid for being a human being. But there is a part of your business system that needs to be machine-like. And that machine-like quality is manualization, codification, quantification, having processes, having systems that help you offload the things that you don't have to be giving answers to all the time. You know, how many questions are you answering daily redundantly? Or if you wrote it down and helped someone else think it through or help them occupy that system, they would be able to do it the same way every single time. It's just the discipline of offloading your intellectual capital into manuals, into operating systems, so that other human beings can get it right, just like you. They can perform. They don't have to just think about it on their own. Now, as a multiplier, you help them think about it on their own, because one way you can help them capitalize is to help create the systems. People probably buy into systems that they help create. And you anchor into that, what's the point of all of it? The reason why you're creating a system is at the backdrop of some mission or vision to come into reality. A meaningful company, a meaningful impact in the community. So the systems are more of the how. It's about execution. Cash, money, you need to be obscenely profitable. So in terms of growth and the diligent economist, we have to economize our margins. You see, in the life piece, as the integrator, as the economist, that's what it's about. It's about having spiritual margin, emotional margin, where we're making progress, but there's not so much load. It's the same thing in the business. So we see the integrator, we see the simplification of the economist in the life piece in the growth piece. It's integrated. It's interdependent. The self piece comes into the growth piece because it's about what you really want to create. You occupy an intention. You set the direction. You build a team. You've got to get right people doing right things right. The right people on the bus weed the garden of the wrong people, but they have to have streamlined processes. And these processes need to be outside your head. If you've got too much in your head, you've got RAM that can't handle the hard drive. It's over relying on you. You've got too much control, and you're going to become consumed, and you're going to become so trapped that all of your freedom is going to turn to interference. That may be a reality for you right now. You're going through this plateau of progress. It's exactly what we eliminate throughout our client's career with these four things. Is they're no longer restrained or limited in terms of themselves, no longer restrained in terms of growth. They can scale the business. They're no longer restrained in terms of enjoying the juicing and the juicy savoring of life. And they're no longer restrained in terms of what they can really offer people. Let it out of the bag, man. Open the lid. Self, growth, life, and people. That's what it is. A serial creator, a diligent engineer, a smart economist, and a multiplier, a gifted boss, and a value creator. These are the archetypal pathways. This is why I am the VIP coach. This is what brings me into the work that I do. Because I seek people in their excellence in these things. I want to bring them into their fullness of their potential in these things by being more of themselves. By not being anything but that. But mastering the excellence around these. The concepts, the perspectives, the habits, the strategies, the structures that they implement to collectively create. To integrate all four of these at one time, just like they're looking through a fourfold crosshair down the barrel. This is where they aim. It's the lens through which we learn. So some of it's convention, some of it's invention. Some of it's going to be inventing and being creative within it. Other parts are conventional that we teach. This is the prosperity zone. The prosperity zone is where spirituality times commerce equals a better world. And if we change the character of you, these leaders, if we change the inner place from which you're operating, the quality of attention and actions that you're giving, by tuning up the self, your growth mechanism, your cash flow machine, the quality of your business, the level of production it can produce, the effectiveness, the efficiency that it has, it will become sustainable. And if it does, it will have virtues and values that go beyond you. And then your life integration, integrating the whole thing, that from here to there, you're all on the same path. You're all on purpose. It's all you from here to there. There's no on or off. It's integrated. It's flow. And then over on the multiplier side. And so you have your creative freedom, the self. You have your financial freedom, the growth. You have your creative purpose, life. And you have your creative value, others. Thank you so much for listening. If something in this inspired you, and something in this Mach Zero show inspired you, and you'd like the accountability, if you'd like the motivation and the clarity levels and the structuring of a coach, if you think you're ready for that kind of interdependence, that you know that two are better than one, that it's more about being intelligent together than you are apart, I applaud you. You're comfortable with your own ignorance. You're ready. There's a signpost in your life that's saying, get help. Right? You can't have all the certainty. Your certainty will hurt you. You don't have all the answers. You have a lot of questions. Our number is 714-375-6624. 714-375-6624. We're online at highlevelperformance.com. That's highlevelperformance.com. And until next time, slow is the new fast. Thank you.
For more tools, go to highlevelperformance.com. Better business, better life. Fast growth, keeping things simple. Or visit us on Facebook. Mach Zero, making time for life, one thing at a time. Set boundaries, focus your attention, and maintain a positive state of mind. Hire a VIP coach to help you. Call 714-912-9261.